But let's start just a mile or so down the road at Stamford Bridge, because Chelsea, it's Arsenal. I've given Pochettino a lot of passes because he's had a lot of people injured, weird stuff going on, whatever. And they go into this game against Arsenal, and things work out for Chelsea. But what I can't work out, at least work out for a while for Chelsea, is were Arsenal really bad in that first half? Or did Chelsea make them look bad? Because Enzo Fernandez is actually playing where he should be playing.
Yeah, and Caicedo, both I think, Gab, the two surely linked in the sense that this was one of the worst first half we've seen since Mikel Arteta took over the club, and that's 143 games, I think. That was the 143rd, and I think only 3 or 4 times before they only had 2 shots. Like their XG in the first half was 0.12. There was just nothing.
I think Chelsea had 3 shots in that first half. So by the way, it's not
much more. But at least they were there. They won all the duels, all the ball. They were far more aggressive. They played with a lot of intensity. Arsenal had a lot of bad passes, bad touches everywhere. There was just no rhythm to Arsenal's game. There was a lot of rhythm, I thought, to this Chelsea side, and I think the jury is still out on Pochettino in terms of what he can do with this team. Even now with 3 games unbeaten, 2 wins, 1 draw, etc. But what they have is when they play with that intensity and that energy, Gallagher, Caicedo, Enzo, but even Sterling, Palmer, the runs, the running, Mudryk, of course, all of that, then I think they become hard to play against. They're not amazing, certainly not with the ball, but I think it's hard to play. However, as soon as they drop a bit of that intensity against a team like Arsenal, who are a better team than them, then you see that it's a bit more difficult for them. And I just don't think right now they can play on that high intensity level for a whole 90 minutes in a game like this.
Why not? Should they be rested? There's no European football. I mean,
I know, but it's still hard, man.
I know. I did kind of feel that Cole Palmer, so you have an extra midfielder. By the way, there's none of this false 9 nonsense, right? You had Cole Palmer and Gallagher ahead of Caicedo and Enzo, right? That was the basic setup. It did allow them not just to do well in terms of intensity, but also kind of put the lid on Arsenal's midfield. Equally, you can make the point that, and I think this applies to the whole game. Chelsea's goals were a penalty that was gifted to them by Saliba. The other one, a Mudryk one, where it's not really clear if he meant it or not.
Please. We're clear, right? It's a cross. 100%.
Pochettino says 100% he meant it, and he says he practices it all the time.
Of course.
But then equally, Arsenal's goal, one, Sanchez goes walkabout, right? Doesn't realize, oh, look, Declan Rice is a professional footballer. He might actually shoot from there. And then Malo Gusto falling asleep at the far post.
Yeah, which is what Malo Gusto does.
So it was an entertaining game. I was there. I don't quite follow it.
It was not highest quality, was it?
No, very low quality. Again, bad weather as well, all you want. But let's go back to one of my favorite issues. David Raya, Aaron Ramsdale. Do we have an issue here?
So what, for the ball that he lost to Palmer that should have scored? Or what? Or the Mudryk goal? I know he's a bit high on the Mudryk goal. He's really close to his near post as well. I'm not so sure about that. I just think it's a fluke from Mudryk. It goes in. It could have lobbed the law of the goalkeeper. We saw Murphy scoring the same goal for Newcastle pretty much against Palace on Saturday as well.
Okay, what I question is, does David Raya's passing, which I'm assuming is the only reason he plays, does it add that much value to Arsenal's build-up?
I think so.
No, I know he thinks so.
Against City, okay, there was a couple of times, one that Alvarez blocked. He plays long with accuracy, which I think is what Arteta really likes.
Sure, great. But on the flip side, you have a guy where I think at some point, I don't know. But again, I go back to my original point. If you want to pick Raya, that's fine. But please don't tell us, oh no, I'm picking them based on the opponent. And one time it might be Raya, maybe Ramsdale will come on as a sub in some games. Just come on. We know better than that. Other thing, I miss this in real time because you're there, you don't get the benefit of the replay. Watching it again, Arsenal should have had a penalty when Sanchez cleared out Gabriel Jesus. I mean, this was like Onana against Wolves proportions. Yeah?
Except that against Wolves, Kalajdzic gets actually the ball, and then Onana just clatters him. In this one, Gabriel Jesus is nowhere near the ball, but still he gets clattered. This is a foul everywhere else on the pitch. It should be a foul in the box as well.
You're not allowed to go and clatter and squash an opponent like a little cream puff.